The foldable iPhone, a device we've been hearing about for what feels like forever, might finally be on its way, and it could be timed perfectly for the 20th anniversary of the iPhone. According to Apple insider Mark Gurman, Apple is working behind the scenes not just on the hardware, but on a completely different marketing strategy to make its foldable phone stand out from the rest. Now, here's the interesting part. Unlike Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 7 or Google's Pixel 9 Pro Fold, which are still considered niche products, Apple reportedly doesn't want its foldable iPhone to be treated like an experimental or side project. Instead, the company wants to position it as a premium upgrade within its flagship lineup. Think of it like today's Pro Max models, but even more exclusive and, of course, more expensive. It's taken Apple this long to jump into the foldable phone market because, as always, the company doesn't just want to be first, it wants to get it right. The main goal is to release a foldable phone that doesn't suffer from the major issues seen in current foldables, that noticeable crease in the middle of the display. Apple is reportedly aiming for a nearly invisible crease, something no company has truly nailed yet. That alone could be a game changer in the foldable space. But with all this perfectionism comes a high cost. The foldable iPhone is expected to be the most expensive iPhone Apple has ever released. And this raises a pretty big question. If Samsung is struggling to sell its foldables, will Apple be able to pull it off? Samsung has had to lower its expectations for upcoming foldable devices, including the Galaxy Z Flip 7 and Z Fold 7. Even more telling is the limited production of Samsung's upcoming tri-foldable phone, just 200,000 units. The reason? It's going to be extremely expensive, and Samsung doesn't think it will sell out. In fact, that device will only be released in a handful of regions where people are more likely to afford such an expensive gadget. Given this, Apple's approach does raise some eyebrows. If foldables in general haven't managed to become mainstream, mostly because of their high prices, how is the foldable iPhone going to succeed by being even more expensive? It's a valid concern, and one that brings us to Apple's past. Let's take the Apple Vision Pro, for example. Despite being widely praised as one of the most advanced AR headsets ever made, it didn't sell as well as Apple had hoped. Why? Again, the price. At $34,999, it was simply out of reach for most consumers. It proved that no matter how futuristic or innovative a product might be, pricing still plays a huge role in its success. So is Apple making the same mistake with the foldable iPhone? Maybe. But then again, the iPhone isn't a new category like the Vision Pro. It's one of the most recognizable and trusted products in the world. That might give Apple the edge it needs. If anyone can make foldables cool and desirable for the average consumer, it's Apple. The company has a long history of entering a market late, perfecting the product, and then dominating the space. Think of how the iPhone revolutionized smartphones, how the iPad reshaped the tablet market, and how the Apple Watch quickly became the top smartwatch. Still, it's hard to ignore the current reality of the foldable phone market. Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 6 didn't sell as well as the company hoped, and even the best foldables today remain a small fraction of overall smartphone sales. That tells us one thing. The average person just isn't convinced yet, so maybe Apple is banking on that invisible crease to be the tipping point, the one feature that finally convinces people to try a foldable. Or maybe it's counting on its brand power alone to drive sales. Either way, it's a risky move. But let's not forget, this is Apple we're talking about. The same company that convinced millions to ditch home buttons, embrace Face ID, and even pay $1,000 or more for a phone. If anyone can shift consumer perception, it's Apple. In the end, whether the foldable iPhone becomes a massive success or just another pricey experiment will depend on how Apple balances innovation with value. One thing's for sure, it's going to be one of the most talked about tech products when it finally launches, and if the rumors are true, we won't have to wait much longer to see it.